أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وأما بعد. I say truly and verily all praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him and seek only His help and His forgiveness. We also seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil of our nafs, which is our carnal desires. For verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that the nafs is inclined to sue, which is evil, except by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that mercy. We also ask refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil of our actions, those things that are not sanctioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran or by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the Sunnah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will to be guided to Islam, submission to the will and commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no one can lead them astray. And those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will to be led astray, no one can guide them. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, the one God who has no partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his slave and his messenger. Amaanee Abdul-Walee. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in hadith that the best speech is the speech of Allah, meaning the kitab Allah, which is the Quran, and the best guidance is the guidance of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, meaning his sunnah. And the worst of all matters are those things that are innovated by the people, for all innovation leads to bid'ah, all bid'ah leads to dalala, all dalala is in the nar, which is the fire. So we seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from improper aqidah, and bless us to be among the muwahhideen, those who have tawheed and the true aqidah in our deen, inshallah, bi rahmatik ya Allah, ameen, ameen. Inshallah, I'm going to be reading from a short ta'aleem that I wrote back in 2001. The name of this ta'aleem, or this little short introductory, is called Foundation. Again, this introductory is called Foundation. I wrote this in 2001 during Ramadan. I haven't read it in a while, but I'm going to read it today because, inshallah, this will be the first pamphlet / book that, inshallah, we will be publishing from Masjid Al-Aqaba as a dawah. I'm going to be reading over the notes, inshallah. So, inshallah, you will hear it, and inshallah, you could also get it in book form, inshallah. So, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, bismillahir rahmanir rahim, inshallah. The intent is to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to advocate His deen of Islam, inshallah, to advocate the truth and to expose falsehood and batil, to give the truth to the people as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us to give it to them, and to be of those who are da'is to call to this deen and say that we are the Muslimin, Ya Allah. Ameen. So again, foundation. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As one grows older and wiser in time, one may encounter many obstacles in their lives. One may face pains, anxiety, loss of wealth, family, seclusion, etc. But through it all, there will be those who make it through, those who have a strong foundation of their deen. No matter what a person does in life, if his foundation of that matter is not solid, then he will be, as Jesus stated in the gospel, one who built his house on sand. This person's life and structure would sway from side to side whenever and wherever the wind blows. This is a house that is faulty and built on weakness. We who are Muslims and carry the responsibility of Islam on our shoulders must strive to obtain a foundation that is built on cement, one that is solid and unshakable. Being that our ultimate goal is to make it to the paradise and to be saved from the fire, we too must have a foundation of this process. We must know what started it all, who is Iblis, Shaitan, who we are truly at war with, and what is our true purpose of being created. The question is, do we know the foundation? And is our reality of this foundation solid? This is very vital to have a better perspective and vigor in this deen and in life. One that is motivated by love, hope, and fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and at the same time hatred and the disgust of Shaitan and all those who help him. Ameen. The first subject matter we come to is Allah. When nothing else exists, there was Allah, who has no beginning nor any end. For he always was, and out of his wisdom and decree, he created all things. As Allah states in the Quran, they have created not, but they are themselves created. They have created not, but they are themselves created. Chapter 25, verse 3. It is he who created the heavens and the earth and all that is in between in 6 days. Then he ascended his throne. The concept or notion that he rests is blasphemous and a lie in Islam. For Allah states in Quran, Allah, there is no God but he, the ever-living, the one, sustains all that exists. No sleep nor slumber overtakes him. To him belongs whatever is in the heavens and the earth. Surah Ayatul Kursi in the Quran, chapter 2, verse 255. He created the sun and the moon to be the service to man, a time to refresh oneself and a time to seek livelihood and reflect. He created the stars in the sky, which he stated are guides for men, and arrows for the shayateen who wish to eavesdrop into the heavens. This brings us to the next section, angels, jinn, and men. Allah states, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, or the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam states, the three creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are as follows. 1, the angels, the malaika, which were created by a light or nur from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 2, the jinn, who were created from the heat of a fire, a smokeless fire. And number 3, men, or Adam, who was created from a dry clay of altered mud. All of this is from the Sahih traditions. As far as the angels and the jinn, they were created before mankind. As far as how long before, Allah knows best. But we will see that this is the truth in these verses. And if one wants to use the dalil or have all the ayats and verses in which I'm going to be reading from, I am reading from chapter 2, verse 30 through 39, chapter 2, verse 30 through 39, chapter 4, verse 116 through 122, chapter 7, verse 11 through 25, chapter 18, verse 50 through 53, chapter 16, verse 98 through 100. Allah states, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. And indeed we created man from dried clay of altered mud. And before him we created the jinn from the flame of heat. Those who are not familiar with the jinn, we will try to clarify. The word jinn comes from the word ishtinan, meaning concealed from sight. Therefore, to most of mankind, they are invisible. But they do exist. Like man, they have the choice of free will, the choice to do right or wrong. Some are Muslims and some are deviants. Some will be rewarded, while those who turn from Allah's book are wood for the hellfire. This is also stated in Surah Al-Jinn, chapter 72 of the Quran. Allah states, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. There are some from among us who are Muslims and others from among us who are deviants. Therefore, whoever submits to Islam, such have sought the right path. And as for the deviants, they shall be firewood for the hell. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, that some of them are Muslims and some of them will be of the kafirin. Now, with regards to the angels, as far as the angels, Allah says that He created them specifically to do His command. They have no choice to disobey Him, nor do they hesitate to carry out His orders, whether for blessing or destruction. This is the reality, our belief, and a part of our foundation. This reality of angels, jinn, and men is detrimental in our wish to obtain higher degrees of iman, for this is the basics of our belief system and a pillar of our structure of our deen. Next brings us to the creation and the reality of man, or Adam. We as Muslims do not believe in evolution or that of Darwin's theory. The concept of men evolving from apes or tadpoles is again another blasphemy and statement of kufr, which is disbelief in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not evolution that we believe in, but in fact it is revelation that we believe in. The reality from Quran is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created man, Adam, from mud, from clay, fashioned and shaped him. He breathed his spirit into him, a separate spirit, and from his left rib created Eve, Hawa, who was to be his mate and source of peace. From these two, Adam and Eve, all the creations of man came forth. Whether they are black, white, brown, or red, all can be traced back to Adam and Eve. They are the parents of mankind, Adam and Eve. All other theories or conjectures are false blasphemies and concoctions of shaitan. For the story is as follows. Allah states, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And remember when your Lord said to the angels, verily I am going to place on earth khalifas, vicegerents. They said, will you place in it those who will make mischief and spill blood, while we glorify you with praises and sanctify you? He said, I know that which you know not. Again, here is the evidence of angels existing before man. Again, Allah continues, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And remember when we said to the angels, prostrate yourselves, bow down to Adam. So they all prostrated except Iblis, except Shaitan. He was one of the jinn. He disobeyed the commandment of his Lord and was of the kafirin. This is from chapter 18, verse 50. This is evidence of Iblis being of the jinn. Reason why he was able to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he was a jinn and he had free will. He was not an angel, for angels only obey and created from Nur, and they only obey the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are created from Nur, wherein Iblis, lanatal alayh, he disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and was created from fire, i.e. a jinn. Chapter 18, verse 50. Again, Allah states, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Allah said, what prevented you, Iblis, that you did not prostrate yourself when I commanded you? Iblis said, I am better than him, Adam. You created me from fire, and you created him from clay. From Iblis's jealousy and envy of Adam's raised position over all the world, it all began. For from this envy came hatred and malice towards Adam and all of his offspring, which is mankind. Once we realize how serious this situation is and was, inshallah, we will have a better understanding of the obstacles and fitness that lay ahead of us. Again, Allah states, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Allah said, Iblis, get down from here, paradise. It is not for you to be arrogant here. He had kibr of the mustaqbirin. So Allah said, get out. Verily you are of those who are humiliated and disgraced of the rajim. And verily the curse shall be upon you till the day of judgment. At this, Iblis requested, Lord, give me respite to the day of mankind or resurrected. Allah says, surely you are giving respite to the day of judgment. Knowing that he, Iblis, was destined for hell, Iblis requested one last wish from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that was time. Now we will see why and what he would do in this granted wish. So he asked for time. So Allah continues, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Iblis replied, Lord, because you have sent me astray, I will create allurements and illusions for them and seduce them with falsehood. I will sit in ambush against them on your sirat al-mustaqim. Then I will strike them from their front and their back, from their right and their left, and you will not find most of them of the shakirin, of the thankful ones. In these ayahs, we see Shaitan's declaration of war against all of mankind. His stance is, well, if I'm going to go down, then I'm going to take as many with me as possible. He states that his weapons of choice will be deceptions, illusions, and ambushes, or all those who he sees on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. His goal is to flip reality upside down, to make the right seem wrong and unpleasant, and to make the wrong and filthy seem pleasing and beautified. Imagine one who is drowning and gasping for air. Would he not grab onto anything he can with great desperation before his final doom? Well, Iblis' final doom is hell, while the elements that he is trying to grab and pull down with him is us, mankind. Let us try to imagine his desperation and his calculation. The jealousy and hatred. Iblis threatens us as such. He states, Allah states, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Surely from your service I will take a complete designated portion. I will mislead them, and surely I will arouse in them false desires. Surely I will order them to change the nature created by Allah. Therefore, whoever takes Shaitan as a protector or a friend instead of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Allah's way, Allah's way, has indeed suffered a manifest loss. He, Shaitan, promises to them and arouses in false desires such as money, sex, drugs, music, etc. But Shaitan promises nothing but deception. The dwelling place for such who follow him is the hellfire, and they will find no escape. These false desires and illusions pertain to anything that has no back from the Quran or the prophets of old. Or, of course, the best example, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our criterion as to what is right and wrong, truth or conjecture, is none other than the Book of Allah, the Quran, and the Sunnah, sayings and teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anything that contradicts this is false and should be avoided and thrown out completely. Shaitan threatens us with changing of the nature of Allah. He has already came into play, especially in this modern-day Sodom and Gomorrah, Babylon that we live in. He has made homosexuality acceptable and a norm, as if it is okay and the thing to do, even though it is in the law of Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, Islam, that if man sleeps with a man like he sleeps with a woman, they should be killed. And this is not from the Quran, this is from the Bible, Leviticus chapter 18, verse 22. If a man sleeps with a man as one sleeps with a woman, they should both be killed. This is from the Old Testament. He also has been successful in changing Allah's nature by convincing men to want to be and dress as women, and convincing the women to want and be and dress as men, to the point that they change their natural state with surgeries of mutilation and consumptions of unnatural drugs and hormones. Again, Leviticus chapter 19, verse 27 through 28. He, Shaitan, is the originator of all filthy and immoral practices. It is he who is the true enemy and threat. Once we truly realize this, we will stop wasting our time and anger towards each other and focus it on the true source of tribulations and fitness, i.e., Iblis, Shaitan. The war